This is Edin Alex Enamorado, and you're watching The Lit Outlet.
What's poppin'? It's your boy Moses, aka Nomo, chilling right here in the Let Out podcast. Got a very special guest in the building. I got Mr.
Edin Alex Enamorado.
Okay, so that's how you say your name, Edin.
Yes.
I always try to read it in English. I'm like
Eden, you can say Eden.
the
but,
Garden of Eden. I'm like, how do you say it?
It
You
is
know?
like that, yeah.
Okay, so it's Eden like Garden of Eden, but in Spanish.
So in Spanish, it's Edin Alex Enamorado, and in English, it's Eden Alex Enamorado.
Okay. Because my name is Moises in Spanish, but in English is Moses. You know how like you gotta switch it up sometimes, depending it is. But welcome to Southgate. Probably the first and last time you're ever gonna be in Southgate, because the only time people come here is for the Let Out podcast. You're already shaking your head, so you're familiar with the area.
I'm probably in Southgate almost every day. Well, now, yeah, almost every. I mean, Southgate is our neighboring city.
Okay.
You know, I grew up in Cudahy, and like I mentioned, I have a lot of memories in Southgate.
Okay.
You know, growing up in high school, we would go to Edwards Theater every weekend, kick it right there. I met a lot of my friends there, and then also. A little over 10 years ago when I didn't have internet in my house, I would come to an internet cafe and I would just hang out almost every day here on Tweedy Boulevard.
Okay.
And then shout out to Wing House. You know, that was our spot back in the day too.
That's how long to me it always seems like it hasn't been there that long, but at this point it's been there like almost forever.
Yeah.
So Edwards as well too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't remember exactly what year it came, but it's definitely like, oh, remember when Edwards came? It was like the newest and best thing ever. Even when you get dropped off, it was like one of those things like it's a little circle, so you get to, depending what car you're getting dropped off
and
on.
we would all just stand right there and we'll watch all the cars. We get to show off our cars right there.
Yeah.
It's a lot of memories right there, man.
Dope. Well, thank you for being part of the podcast today. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
This episode is sponsored by the Michi Man. The Michi Man sells a Michelada mix. You can find him on Instagram at big_e_the Michi Man. He actually wanted me to give you this to you.
Nice.
Because he's a big fan of yours.
Oh yeah.
So please go ahead and enjoy. And if you guys want to order some micheladas, you can DM Big E the Michi Man, and he ships all over the world and stuff like that. And he's actually I think his wife's from like Inglewood and he's from like Wilmington. Okay. So that's why they put the 105 and the 405 on the logo. Nice. And then his like uncles and aunts used to be ice cream men and women. So like he's also a street vendor kind of thing.
Well, shout out to you and thank you. And if you don't drink alcohol like me, you can have a virgin michelada. So that's what I'm gonna do when I get home.
There you go. I did want to actually touch on that a little bit because I have like a month or so sober as well. Yeah. Trying to take that serious this time because I've quit and started back over many times.
Me too.
But do you feel like there's a specific reason why it's important for us not to drink?
Oh, I think it's super important, and that's something that, as an activist, I want to get deeper into later on, where I want to advocate to help people to stop drinking, because especially in our culture, in our cultura, and I grew up having uncles, cousins, they all drink heavily, so, and a lot of us are dying from it. You know, like I was telling you earlier, my friend Jerry just passed away a month and a half ago from liver failure. He was 43 years old, and my neighbor, who was 32, last year he passed away at 32 from liver failure. So it's definitely something important. A lot of people die from alcoholism, and that's something that I really want to advocate for, because we can't help others and we can't help ourselves, and that's something that I had to make that decision. Like, do I want to stay in this earth or not? Because it's a slow suicide.
It's like you said, it's part of our culture. It's one of those things where like we have many things in our culture that are like detrimental to ourselves, right? Mm-hmm. Like sometimes there's like gang culture or like overeating, like in Mexico, if your kids are skinny, like, oh, you're a bad parent type of thing, like overindulging and stuff, right? How long have you been sober now?
10 months.
And what is some of the differences that you noticed since being sober?
Ever since then, I think the work that we've been doing has been more effective, more consistent. I've been more consistent, and I just been solid on point. I remember back then it was a routine. I would get home. I wasn't really a partier and like that, but I think I was just slack off in a lot of things. Now I've been focused. And I walk out there with my chest high. I walk out there and I know that there's police departments that are investigating me right now, and I have nothing to hide. You know what I'm saying? So now without drinking, it's just like, I don't think you can find dirt on the guy who's just a family man who when he goes out there with his girl to protect vendors. That's it, So it's going to be really hard for them to find anything because there is nothing.
Right. Yeah. A lot of people watching this are definitely going to be here and interested to learn more about the street vending side of things, because I think that's where most of your, like, I don't know if you want to call them fans or your following comes from, your activism. But I definitely want to deep dive into more about you, the person. So tell us a little bit about where you grew up.
I grew up in Cudahy. Well, I was born in Guatemala. My parents moved out of Guatemala when I was like 8 months old, and we moved to the city of Cudahy on Clara Street in 1989. I was like 8 months. That's where I grew up all my life. I've lived there. I just recently moved out for the first time ever out of LA County. I live in the IE now, but I lived there for over 30 years. And I Cudahy, Bell, Southgate, the whole southeast region. That's where I grew up at.
Yeah. You're also part of like youth athletics and stuff. Is that something that you partook when you were young?
Yeah, I mean, I was a big baller. Like I love basketball, and I was in the high school basketball team. That was my dream, to play ball. But I got injured. That typical. I got injured in high school.
Everybody,
I could have been this,
yeah.
But I don't think, it's super hard to compete, especially when you're like 5'7", 5'8". You can't compete with people that like that. But who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my dream. But so after that, I coached from like 2010 to like the pandemic. I coached my son's teams. I coached baseball and I coached basketball. So
Okay.
yeah.
Is basketball like your number one favorite sport?
I go through that all the time. I think it's like a split three-way tie. I'll be honest with you. It's baseball, football, and basketball.
Okay.
It's a tie. There's days that I feel baseball is the best, and then there's days I feel football. Right now, as I'm getting older, it's between baseball and football. Yeah.
Okay. What are your teams? What teams do you go for?
Damn. So I don't have a baseball team right now because of the whole Dodger thing.
You're actually one of the reasons why I haven't gone this year.
Really?
Because I'm the biggest Dodger fan of all time. I even made my logos after it and everything. Like,
Dang.
and my dad's a street vendor. And when the Dodgers do good, we do good because we sell hats and Dodger
Okay,
jerseys
okay,
and stuff
okay.
like that. Like the van we just walked by right now. So like the Dodgers, like them doing good is tied directly to how we're gonna do good this year or not. As far as a
Dang.
family, providing for
Right.
a family.
Right.
So like then that whole thing about like you can explain a little bit more about why
Yeah.
you don't like the Dodgers right now.
Oh, yeah. So the history, this is something that I always knew, but I kind of always put it in the back burner. Just them not taking accountability or even showing recognition that the land was basically stolen by eminent domain by the city. But then we find out later that the Dodgers were involved from the whole time. So it wasn't just directly the city. So it's that, and then also meeting family members through my girlfriend. I met people who were actually like there and they witnessed it. Like I met this lady she was like 80 plus years old when we ran the field, and she cried to us and she said, wow, like I remember when she was 15 years old when she was pulled out of her house
Damn.
at fuerzas, so it was just that. Like I kind of lost. It's kind of like when your hero lets you down.
Yeah, yeah.
You finally meet the celebrity you've always looked up to, and you meet them and they're just like a piece of shit, and that's basically what it is. And it pisses me off that the Dodgers can have Mexican Heritage Night, Salvadorian Heritage Night, and all these recognitions, but not to the families that they displaced. And that's basically what it is. So I had to take that off. I had to, and I'll be honest with you, what made it easier for me to not be a Dodger fan no more, because we've always wanted them to win the World Series.
Right.
And I just said, I was still a fan when they won the World Series, and I kind of I think it's time to let go.
Okay.
Yeah.
To me, I kind of have this like internal fight with the Dodgers, right? Because I was born in '90, so the last time they won before the 2020 was '88. So all my life, like we kind of sucked or barely made the playoffs, and then we finally won. Whatever, like a little bit of load off your chest, but like. Is there a way, like, because you also you're really good at calling people on their bullshit, whether it's like people who attack street vendors or just people in general. Is there a way where like the Dodgers can make this okay, and how does that look like?
Yeah. Well, initially the families, they were requesting 3 community centers. That's it.
Damn.
3 community centers named after the 3 communities that were stolen. It was Bishop, Palo Verde, and La Loma, right? So those 3, that's it. And it's the families have been fighting that for over 50 years, and that's basically what they wanted initially. And if they were to do that, in the future, yeah, of course, we can reconcile and go back to that. But right now, I think the family members are asking for not only that, but reparation. So if you want more information, I definitely recommend people to go to buriedundertheblue.com.
Yeah, go ahead and guys can check that out. Now Lakers also, right? Like you're a Laker fan.
Yeah, big time Laker fan.
You grew up in the same era I did, which is the Kobe era.
Yes, yeah. So I'm still sad. If y'all know my truck, I have the Kobe Bryant sign on the back of my truck. It was still heartbroken of that. And then also we have the Raiders. I'm a Raider fan, even though it's tough.
Hell yeah, go Raiders, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go. This is gonna be the start of something beautiful. I could tell
Yes.
already. We love the same teams. There's always a moment where like, you remember when you were when 9/11 happened?
Yeah.
Okay, so I also remember where I was like 9 or 10 years old, but I also remember where I was when Kobe died.
Yes.
Do you remember when Kobe died?
I was managing the Bernie Sanders office.
Okay.
So I was in Oxnard, and that day was crazy because I was living in Oxnard at the moment. So I was managing the office, and like my kids had, it was on a Friday, right? I think he passed away on a Saturday.
Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday, Sunday. Like, yeah, one of those days. And my dad had my kids, and my dad was like, "Oh, we were gonna meet halfway, so I can pick up my kids, so they could spend the weekend with me." And he's like, "No, I'll go the whole way." And I was worried because my dad likes to drive fast, so I was already worried that morning because it was super foggy, bro. And that night, I actually stayed till like 4 a.m. at the office, so I slept at the office. And then when I woke up, I couldn't see across the street. It was super foggy, so I'm like, I was already worried. Finally, my dad gets there, and I have my kids. So I'm in the office, and then LeBron had just passed Kobe's record the day before. So I'm over here debating with my friend about Kobe and LeBron, like who's the greatest or whatever. We're going back and forth, back and forth. And then I take a little break. I go to my news feed, and I see that. And then I write to my homie, like, is this true? Like, what the fuck? Like, and my heart just stopped. As soon as I seen the TMZ thing, because TMZ usually is always correct.
Right.
My heart dropped, and my kids were playing music on the side. I told them, Jay, turn off the music. Turn off the music. And I just stood up. I stood up, and I just felt like someone just punched me in the gut, man. And yeah, that's what I was doing.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm already getting like a little. I'm not gonna cry, dog. I get a little teary-eyed too, cause you know, I was in the middle of work, and then like the lady I was helping in front of me, like she was like, "Oh my God, Kobe just died," and I was like, "No, there's no way." So I was trying to like muscle through it, but I was still like kind of like thinking about it. And then she goes, "And his daughter too." And then right there, like a little fucking tear came out, dog, and like that shit hurt me so bad. But I muscled through it, but like it just kind of felt like surreal, you know, like. I don't know, moments like that sometimes, because sometimes you get like lost in the monotonous of life and stuff. It just reminds you like how shit changes. You know?
Oh, and then going back to how I was telling you it was foggy. He died like not so far away from where I was.
I was about to say, dog, because I think that's where the helicopter crashed.
Yes, no? Yes. So my dad, when he told me, when I called him after, he's like, "Yeah, no wonder there was a bunch of firefighters off of La Virgenes in Calabasas." And I go there almost every year. I actually hike there, and I go visit where actually the helicopter actually landed. Yeah, sometimes whenever it's foggy, I get pissed. I'm like, man, if it wasn't with the freaking fog, like Kobe wouldn't have died, you know?
Well, that area, like Ventura County, that's like known for fog all the time, right?
Yeah.
Because my dad plays baseball. He used to play up there, and sometimes we'll drive up there. I'm like, what the fuck? Where are we, dog? This is like a different country over here. It's a crazy area. But like as far as like you managing Bernie Sanders, like what is the title that you had back then? Just
regional field director.
Okay, and what do you do exactly from that position?
So aside of managing the office, you know, making sure it was open, making sure people would come in and out, volunteers will sign up. I would manage the phone banks, you know, making sure calling people, because I started off in LA County, and they threw me in the areas where Bernie had lost in 2016 against Hillary. So they're just like, hey, here, we're going to throw you where all these places where he lost. Good luck. So then I was managing from LA County all the way up to Salinas. So every weekend there was different canvas projects. So we would have 50 people going door knocking in Salinas, and I would manage them. Every week we would have meetings with, I think it was 11 counties I was in charge of.
Damn.
So I was in charge of like those offices. I was in charge of basically the whole campaign, you know, whether who was the leader, who was managing the canvases, who was managing the phone banks, making the phone calls, what was going to happen on election day, the whole get down. So it was tough, man. I lost a lot of sleep during those times, you know, and we actually ended up winning every single county. I didn't lose a county.
Sick.
Yeah.
Undefeated.
Yeah.
Kobe would have liked that. When you're doing that, are you in charge of like tapping in with like the mayors and the city council and asking for like them to like be part of your campaign and picking? Because at that point it was like still like Democrats haven't picked like a, what is it called? Like a candidate yet, right?
Right.
So
They
you
hadn't picked them up.
So do people tell you no, or they all just tell you yes? Like, how's that process?
Nah, with Bernie, it was so easy. We knew who supported him. We knew who didn't. We didn't have to beg or nothing. Like, we had in my office, we would have congressional members. I know Chuy Garcia would go there a lot. We would have the mayors show up. We would have city council members. We would have celebrities show up at my office. I think there was a guy from the Hunger Games, like the main actor. He would show up to my office all the time. It was super easy, man. Around the beginning of March 2020, we were in cloud nine. We thought we were gonna win it because we knew we were beating Joe Biden in California by a lot. We just didn't predict the pandemic. We didn't predict that, because after we won California, everything slowed down, because literally 2 weeks later the pandemic came. People couldn't go out there and vote in other states, and that kind of just slowed it down. And half of the states didn't get a chance to vote. Half of the states didn't get a chance to vote on who was gonna go against Trump. And then also, like, the other states, they didn't really come in full clutch. We expected to win the other states, and what happened is that not a lot of youth came out to vote. A lot of the elders voted for Joe. When it came to people from the ages of 18 to 45, we won the whole state. If only people from 18 to 45 would have voted, Bernie Sanders would be president right now. But that's basically what happened.
Do you think that that's a coincidence, or like the powers that be saw that they had to shut it down to make sure that Joe wins?
No, because I mean, I was very involved in politics, and in 2018, Donald Trump, he dismantled our pandemic team. He basically left us vulnerable to a pandemic, and not just the country but the world. And we kind of had a feeling something like that was going to happen, and it did. So when you have a president who's anti-science and he does childish things like that, where he thinks it's just a game, then he left us vulnerable to that. And and I'm not gonna sit here and debate whether COVID was real or not, because I spent all year, all 2020 and 2021, trying to explain to people that it was real. And obviously, a lot of conservatives, they seen that it was real when they seen their family members die and all that. I'm just glad it's all over with. But it's I don't know. I think it was probably a coincidence, but who knows? I mean, at the end of the day, honestly, I'm at the point where not even the president knows everything that what's really going on. Only the CIA does.
Yeah, exactly.
I've came to the conclusion where I was just like, if I really want to know what's going on, I'm gonna have to join the CIA.
Yeah, Central Intelligence for sure. So being being part of like a Democratic campaign, is that something that you kind of like joined because your parents are immigrants and you come from like a Democratic kind of like, I guess, community, or is that just by coincidence, or like did something happen in your childhood that made you want to get into politics, or was it just a job?
No, I mean that Bernie was definitely has a lot of my values that I hold up to. Now I'm just I don't even consider, after I seen all this stuff that happened between the Democrats, I don't even consider myself a Democrat anymore. But when I was younger, I think a lot of the influence that I got was from Tupac. Like Tupac was someone who was considered a left winger. He believed in women's rights. He believed in just being a human. Not he wasn't a conservative, that's for sure. And it wasn't until like 2009 when I was on my way home from a party. The first time I got beat up by a cop, we were rolling deep. It was like 10 cars deep, and then my friend who was behind me takes a red light. I remember, and then the cop stops him. So we all had to go wait across the street. So we're all waiting across the street, and I was balded. I think I even had lokes on my head. And next thing you know, as we're just chilling, I see the cop get in his car, comes real quick, busts a bitch, and comes over here, gets behind my car, gets off the car, like running towards me, rushing me. And all I remember is that I'm on the floor. Like he throws me to the floor. And I look to my right and I see my friend James, the female cop, because it was a female cop and a male cop. The female cop was like taking care of my friend, like all nice. Like, hey, put your hands behind your back, go over there. But I'm over here getting hit in my head with a gun. Like he's like pistol whipping me in my head, asking me why did I throw gang signs at him. And I was like, what the fuck? And he keeps hitting me. It wasn't until my friend James starts screaming, we know the guy. Because the cop said that the driver said that I was throwing gang signs at him. It turned out that the guy who he stopped, my friend, he played a prank. He tried to try to divert the cop, and he told the cop, hey, those guys across the street, they're knuckleheads, they're over there throwing gang signs.
Damn.
So then it wasn't until my friend James screamed out Ismail, this guy, his name was Ismail, his last name, is when he stopped. And I remember, I'll never forget this face, because he was an Asian cop, and he stopped and he looked like he seen a ghost. And he said, your friend almost got you killed. He's like, if you would have put your hand in your pocket, this gun is loaded or whatever, and this and that. And he ended up letting us go. We didn't get a ticket. We didn't do nothing. And I was just like so flabbergasted. I didn't even end up going to the party. I just went home like with a big ass chichote right here in my head. Like I was just like, oh. And I just didn't. Yeah, it's a, what do you call this?
Chipote.
Chipote, sorry. Chichote. So.
But like, what happened to that? Like, did you ever like file a report, press charges? Back in the day, sometimes like, oh, I'm not gonna snitch against the cops. I'll get mine back. Type of like energy. Like, what happened?
I didn't do nothing, man. I was just happy to be alive.
Okay.
And I was just mad at my homie for doing that prank.
Damn.
And then the next year, I went through it again. We're coming out of a club, and I was with the same friends.
Damn.
We get stopped, and it was a regular for us. We would get harassed so much by cops back in the day. There was times that we get searched twice a day. And it was just a routine. They were searching the car, and then when the cop was interlocking my fingers, he ends up breaking it. And I'm screaming, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I could see it because I used to play basketball, and I know when my finger's broken because I've broken it before. And that's when I just started mouthing off. And then my friends like, what did you do to him? They tackle my friend Albert, and then I kept mouthing off because you already know, you see how I am. That's where it all started. That was the first time I was just angry.
You see
It was the
red.
second time. They tell my friends to leave, like to leave me alone. So my friend James gets in the car. They take off with everyone, and I'm sitting there on Patata Street in Cudahy, which is the border between Southgate and Cudahy, and the cops just like, as soon as they sit me down, I just felt a knee right here, like someone come knee me, and they just start kicking me, stomping on me, and they're telling me that if I didn't shut the fuck up, that they were gonna smoke me right now, and I'm over there bleeding on the floor, and they're getting in their cop cars and they're laughing, and then they said, you know what they said? They said, have fun reporting this to Southgate PD, and I'm like, what the fuck?
It was South KPD.
No, Cudahy PD beat me up, but since it was like the border, like I don't know, for some reason they thought I was gonna go report it to another police station for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because I did. I walked over the train tracks to Southgate and I flagged down a Southgate cop, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like I was bleeding everywhere, bro. And I'm like, I didn't know what to do. And he goes like, well, there's nothing I could do. The Southgate cop told me, you're gonna have to go to the station in Maywood, because it was Maywood and Cudahy together. So I go to the station. I'm filing a report, and I see Officer Mesa, one of the officers that beat me up, and he's right there. Damn. And I'm telling him, watch, the next time I see you, and I'll never forget it, I see you, I'm gonna see you in, I don't know why I said this. I said, next time I see you, I'm gonna see you wearing beach clothes. Basically meaning that he's gonna be fired. I filed a lawsuit. I started going to city council meetings, started meeting other people that had exposed them for doing tranzas with the towing companies. They would basically get like, they would take away people's cars, and then they would sell them in Mexico. The towing company would like take the cops to trips to Vegas. The cops were also having relationships with underage girls. So all this stuff came out, and they were getting hit left and right with lawsuits that the whole police department had to disband. They had to get fired. They had to just get rid of it. So now we have the sheriffs. But back then, man, we were like, you would see cops every morning stopping people, taking away their cars. If you didn't have a license because you were undocumented, they would take away your car. And Officer Mesa was considered a champ because he would take away like 5-7 cars a day.
Damn.
And I don't see that no more. Like the sheriffs don't even come to Cudahy unless they're called. Like I tell this joke all the time that you could literally take a red light in Cudahy and no one will care. And I'm not saying that the sheriffs are good.
Yeah, don't do that though. Don't take no red lights.
Don't take no red lights. But I'm not saying the sheriffs are good, but it's night and day between the difference between Cudahy, Maywood PD, and what they were doing to us as a city. They were getting away with a lot of shit.
So like your lawsuit never finished, never went through.
As a matter of fact, I was just someone doxed me, like really doxed me 2 weeks ago, and they thought they had I gotcha moment because they found like a domestic violence restraining order against my uncle because I'm named after my uncle. Mm-hmm. But I was like 14 when they pulled up that record, and it wasn't even me. I searched up, I doxed myself again, and I seen, so in 2010, after the whole police department disbanded, I was just so happy that we got rid of them. I never even answered my lawyer's calls. I just never followed through. The court case actually went on till 2015. I didn't even know this.
And
without me, and it was disposed. But I was young. Honestly, I don't know what I would have done with the $100,000. I probably would have done some stupid stuff.
Yeah.
But I honestly, at that point, I didn't care about the money, bro. I cared about just getting rid of those guys.
A lot of people don't understand the difference between Southgate has its own PD, right? Which means they kind of like govern themselves.
Yeah.
But some cities can't afford their own police station. Do you think like it's better to have your own police station or to be like policed by the sheriffs, in your opinion? Maybe with your like your what's it called? Your experience.
I don't know, because Bell PD, they're pretty bad, and they feel like no one can police them. The sheriffs, they have the internal gangs. It's a tough one. I don't know, because it's yeah, I think it's the same, to be honest. I'm split between both. Yeah.
You say you were bald headed in one of the incidents when you got beat up. Were you like I don't want to say a victim, because me when I was younger too, like I have both parents in my household, they both work and stuff. Sometimes they'll leave us alone, but for the most part I come from like a good home, a good Mexican home. But I was out there looking for trouble and shit, and I found trouble when I fucking went looking for it. Is that something that you kind of like born into, or what made you kind of like gravitate towards like street life and stuff like that?
Growing up, you have two major gangs in Cudahy. All my homies from middle school, they all joined either or. There was two major gangs, and I seen all that. And then just I don't think I got pulled into it, to be honest with you. I remember when I was in 8th or 9th. No, I was in 9th grade. I was leaving school with my friend, and someone threw a knife at him while we were in the car, and they broke my window. And it turned out it was some guy just, he was from a crew, and then this guy was from a crew. Because back in the early 2000s, a lot of people were also joining crews, not gangs, but they were doing the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, the drug dealing, the shootouts, everything. So they started beefing it. Mind you, the guy who almost got hit with the knife, I grew up with him since I was 4 years old. The guy who threw the knife at him was someone I played basketball with in high school too. So I had to make a choice. So we started beefing it. It all started with fights. You know, it went from fights to them being shot at, and then having windows broken. We would go and break their windows. They'd come break our windows, and it just became this whole personal thing, you know. And then we had like 50 friends in our group, in our crew, and then we ended up starting our own. Like our goal was to become a trece, you know. That's what we wanted, because I just didn't want to join the two major gangs in Cudahy, even though they both wanted to recruit me really bad. Was because I didn't want to beef with homies I grew up with. You know what I'm saying? Till this day, I'm cool with both of them. You know, I see them, and you know, I just can't see myself inheriting a beef that had nothing to do with me. You know, so that's how it basically that's like the tip of the iceberg of how everything happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you like involved for a long time, and how'd you get out of it?
I got out of it because there was an accident where one of my homies accidentally like killed someone with one of my guns, and I felt a lot of guilt with that. So after that happened, I just felt like I had to just change my ways, and I started seeing a responsibility, because what you see now going on with people like following the activism, there was a lot of people following me back then with the negative stuff too, you know, and I started seeing the responsibility. Like when I wasn't around, my homies would end up getting shot, or you know, they would do a lot of mistakes, you know, and I just felt like I wanted to sway my friends into doing something better. So it was in that when it was around 2010, I think, after the whole disbandment of the police department, I decided to go back to college. I decided to go to college.
Okay.
And then that's when I just it didn't happen overnight, but that's when I started, you know what, I want to do good. You know what I'm saying? I don't want this person who died for that death to go into vain, and I want to just correct my wrongs, you know.
Before we close this like chapter, as far as like, you know, the young Edin, what high school did you go to?
I went to Bell High School.
Okay.
Yeah.
Going to Bell High School, you have people from like Maywood, Cudahy, and Bell, obviously.
And that was before the Maywood Academy, so we were packed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was that? Like, did you guys like stick all together because you're different cities, or you guys were just all blending in Bell?
Yeah, we were blending in. It was basically because all the good kids went to Cudahy High School, which was Elizabeth Learning Center. Those were the good kids, and I actually got approved to go there, but I decided to go to Bell because that's where my big brothers went.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, everyone was cool. It was just we were packed. People were getting kicked out just for no reason, because they were just so saturated.
Over here being in Southgate, you know, we used to be a city where if you want to do something cool, you got to go to Downey, to the mall. You got to go to like a different city for the movies until we had Edwards. Cudahy is kind of similar, right? But now you guys have like, what's that shopping center? You're about to get a Sprouts. What are some of the changes that you've seen in Cudahy since you were young to now?
Yeah, we're getting more corporations, more businesses like that. What I like about Cudahy now too is that they have a lot of street vending. I love it. You go to Patata Street, you have a lot of diversity, a lot of delicious food that you can choose from, and that's what I like. I like that my city has been one of the real ones. It's not like Huntington Park, who's cracking down on street vendors. Like Cudahy is a safe space for vendors. We have a women-led city council. They're all my friends. They're doing great, and I think it's just I don't know. I just love what my city came about. From what we came from, that's what I like. But yeah, we have Sprouts coming. We have I think we just got a new Starbucks, but we got a Choose Fitness, which is great. You know, our people can work out, and it definitely gives it a better ambience, you know. So I've always wanted, prior to the mentality I have now politically, but I've always wanted what is that restaurant that's right there on Firestone and Downey, the one that Cuban one? Portos. I wanted a Portos on Atlantic. That's probably one I would want, you know, to beautify it, you know, for the city to be a little more beautiful. But I think it's going on the right direction.
So I definitely want to talk about a little bit, like, you know, there's some people that like I posted this clip with because I interviewed, as you know, Gil Hurtado, the mayor, right? Yeah. Vice mayor. So I interviewed him, and then he started saying like how some companies don't come because they look at like education levels and income levels and stuff like that. Some people commented that like I'm not sure if it was you, that, you know, sometimes we should focus on like small businesses, local,
Yeah.
like local businesses. But what do you? Which I agree. When you said that, I'm like, good point. God damn, that's
Yeah.
a good point that I didn't bring up. Which I agree. Right, we should also focus on both. But what if like the public wants? They're asking for these things. What are they supposed to do?
I mean, yeah. I mean, if that's why we have elections. If that's what a person want, I mean, if that's what the people want, then you're gonna get a city council member that falls in line with that. That's why there's populist city officials that will do what the public want, and I think that's great. I just also feel that there's a lot of people who are against Walmarts being built in cities. Even in white cities, they're against Walmarts because it takes away from the mom and pops, And what do we benefit from Walmart coming in? Like, what do we really benefit from? Because their workers are still living off of financial aid, whether it's EBT. We have our taxpayer money getting the short end of the stick, paying for the workers. They're exploiting their workers, and then you have the Walmart Corporation. We have the family that owns it, dodging taxes by throwing trillions into offshore accounts. So are we really? We're not really doing anything that's benefiting the city now. Now let's look at the revenue. Now that if for example Gil was here and he will rebuttal, well, what about the revenue that's coming in from Walmart? What's going? What have you done with that revenue? How has that benefited the city of Southgate? The city of Southgate has the highest tax rate for their residents in the city of Southgate, for their businesses there. What have you done? What have they benefited from? Because if I were to understand, for example, in Cudahy, the kids, because we run the Cudahy Youth Foundation, they don't pay for anything, like absolutely nothing. Everything's paid for. Everything's free. Basketball, soccer, baseball. But now you go to Southgate, even when you play for Gil's organization, you still pay $80. It's still pretty expensive. So I was like, what has benefited from it? Now, if you're gonna bring in a Walmart, I would say strike a deal. You're gonna pay for the kids' sports here in the city, but I don't see that in Southgate. So that I would question that. And then also another thing, the reason why we have the homeless crisis here is because we have a lack of housing. That's nothing more than that. So when we have mayors like Gil, or we have city council members, instead of building more housing to be able to house these people that need it, they build Walmarts. They build, you go to Inglewood, you literally have 3 stadiums right next to each other. You have SoFi, you have the new Clipper Stadium, you have the Great Western Forum. All that space could be used for housing, but we're not using it. And let me tell you why. There's a proposition called Prop 13, where ever since the 1970s, homeowners, their tax that goes to the city has been capped. It hasn't gone up. It hasn't gone up with inflation. So mayors and city council members don't want more housing. They want more Walmarts, more revenue.
Yeah.
And it's really a problem. It's really a problem here in LA County. So I would look into both of those things, to be honest. But it's capitalism and greedy. Being a lot of these city council members are greedy. That's what they. Right now, you see city council members from LA being arrested left and right. Mark Ridley Thomas just got indicted. He's serving 3 years in federal prison because he accepted bribes. Jose Guizar, another city council member who I knew, was accepting bribes for development projects. So it's a lot of these city council members are selling out to the highest bidder and not putting the people first.
You also mentioned, I think in a different podcast, that Democrats, you would think that they're super left compared to the Republicans, but they're more like a central conservative. What'd you call them? A central
centrist. Yeah. And
what I'm trying to say is, do you think it's time for a third party? And is it possible? Because it talks about a third party has always been up in there. And then sometimes in the 2000s, I think they got I don't know how 10, 15% of the vote for a president, which was pretty high, but then it just drastically dropped.
Yeah.
Do you think it's possible to have a third party?
I think we're going to have someone big transition. For example, if Bernie Sanders and AOC would say, we're no longer Democrats, we're Green Party, then you would see. But we don't have any congressional members that are Green Party or third party. It's going to take a long time. It's going to take a miracle for us to build a third party. But yeah, of course, we need more options. We just have a 2-party system. And when it comes to municipal elections or municipal governments, like in the city, I've got so deep into it where I honestly don't care if you're Republican or Democrat if you are in a city council. Because if you're a Republican, for example, your values are, build the wall. what kind of power are you gonna have building a wall when you're a city council member? You're not. Like all your values that I'm against, you don't have federal power. Like you're not gonna build a wall. You're not gonna do anything that your values stand. Usually, when you're a city council member, it's about being fiscally responsible and being able to run, basically manage the money in the city. You know.
Yeah.
So I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. Just my standards are so low now. Don't get caught up in bribes. Don't get caught up in corruption, and do what's best for your city. And that's what I care about right now. So, but when it comes to like federal elections, that's where it gets touchy. But we definitely need a party that is for the people and is not capitalist. We don't like it's all right now. It's all about profit. It's all about profit over people. It's not people over profit, and that's what that's dude. It's like during the pandemic. The statistics are there. You can look it up where it's like the working class, people who make less than 400,000 a year, collectively we lost 300 billion, and then the billionaires they gained 300 billion. It was a transfer. So our communities are hurting even more ever since 2020, and then these guys are just leeching off of us. We have the largest wage gap. Like a lot of people don't understand like the difference between a billion and a million, because people always talk shit about Bernie. Oh, Bernie's a millionaire because he sold the book. Cool, but he's coming after billionaires, right? Like I don't think people see the difference. So this is how I always break it down, and this is how it was broken down to me. A billion seconds is 32 years. If you count a billion to a billion, it's gonna take you our lifetime. If you count a million seconds, that's only 10 days.
Damn.
So that is a huge difference, bro.
That's crazy.
Like you're comparing 10 days to 32 years, and these people who have 32 years worth of seconds of money, which are billionaires, they're running away with it. They're throwing trillions into offshore accounts to dodge taxes, and that's a problem, bro. That's a problem. If you gather 10 animals right here and you see one animal just hoarding everything, all the food, and then you have the rest, the 9, fighting over crumbs, you would say that's unfair. Hey, what the fuck? Like, why do you have so much food right there, and you have the 9 rest of the animals fighting over crumbs? Like, we need to level this out, and that's all we want. That's all we want. And apparently people are against that.
Let's say like that miracle does happen and we have a third party and AOC or whoever it is gets that third party, but isn't like the Senate and the Congress still full of Democrats and Republicans? So even if we have a president who's a third party, he still won't be able to get any votes, and it has like basically has no power other than the executive order, whatever it's called.
Yeah, that's why I said it's gonna take a long time.
So it'll take a president plus like I don't know how many
a whole wave
congressmen are there. I don't know how
422. Yeah.
So like a couple thousand.
Yeah. You
wins, in citywide or statewide elections.
Yeah. So
it'd be pretty hard.
Yeah, it takes a while. That's why there are some Democrats that are for the people. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's good to do your research and support them. But that's but at the end of the day, city elections are just as important as federal elections. What goes on in your city is very important too. And just because someone is raza doesn't mean that they're for the people too. We have to start looking into their values too, because a lot of raza city council members, they're selling out. People that I help manage their campaigns and win, they've sold out right in front of my eyes.
Damn,
it's crazy.
Another thing too, like a lot of people want to say, like give like not reparations, but like give the land back to the natives, which is like people like that are from our bloodline or ancestors, right? But let's say for example, we give back. Or we get back Southern California, right? And the United States says if you're indigenous, now you're a citizen of this country, you guys can govern yourselves.
Right.
Like, are we gonna like hire the United States to protect us with their army, their military? Like, what if North Korea or China comes and like sees us as a young weak country because we just like whatever it's called when you leave the country, you success or whatever it's called. Like, doesn't that make us vulnerable? Like, it's kind of like the main reason why we can't have our own land.
I mean, I don't think that's the reason, because that's like you're falling, like then we'll fall into like what do you call it, like Stockholm syndrome, like, oh well, we don't deserve to be free, because then something like that can happen. But I assure you this, that a lot of these countries that might attack us, if they knew that happened, I don't think they would attack us, because they have beef against the United States because of what the United States has done. The atomic bombs and all the killings and U.S. imperialism. I assure you that, pretty sure if that were to happen, I don't know. I wouldn't be, because even Russia, I've heard Putin, say like, why is the United States attacking me for trying to invade Ukraine? They've invaded all these land from Mexico. They're not stupid. They know the history of the United States. So who knows, man? I don't know. And what I do know is that uh, now we're living in a different era where we're not going to be attacked. We're not going to get attacked by bombs or military. There's so many different ways they can blow off our electrical grid, do a bunch of other things. And it's like I mentioned, we've been, the president before left us vulnerable to a pandemic. And like what happened,
Yeah.
we lost so much people. But because people didn't die from bombs, how many people died during the pandemic? A lot. If they would have died through a bomb, it would have been a whole brand new 9/11. It was just like, oh, we're the victims and all this stuff, but people didn't see it like that. So I think that would be a problem that we would want to have, right? If it were to happen.
Eventually, no, I definitely want to ask you this question as far as like, as far as the country, but like just maybe like locally, maybe just Cudahy or Southgate or like the Southeast area. What are some of the biggest changes that you think need to happen? Just to be fair for the people, like, what do we need?
Right now, what I think we would need is, for example, City of Huntington Park right now is cracking down on street vendors, and then just the whole bribery thing. The whole greediness. I think that's what needs to stop. Stop attacking your own raza. Stop being greedy. Stop getting caught up in corruption cases, and that's it. I think just by doing that, focusing on housing instead of profit, that'll be a big first step for us to actually continue going further. That's pretty much it. Like I said, my standards are so low right now for city officials. Um, you know, half of the city council members in LA have either gotten arrested or indicted, and just based off that. Now, as far as the economy, that's a whole different thing that has nothing to do with like small government. But I asked for, our economy is doing better now. We're still recovering, obviously, from the pandemic, but I think in a year or so you'll see the economy building back up. But that's something that we'll see later on. But unless there's this program called Citizens United that allows billionaires to fund campaigns without a limit, and I think that's one thing that I want to focus on in the future, to abolish the system, to stop, because ever since you have these rich white men puppeteering politicians. Because if you were a city council member from Southgate and I'm the owner of Walmart and I want you to continue doing whatever I want you to do, then you're just a puppet to me, right? So I don't even think we have a government anymore. We just have these rich white men just puppeteering everyone.
Like playing Monopoly and shit.
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
Why do you think it's so easy for these guys to go corrupt? Like, how come if all these guys are getting caught, like, why do they keep doing it? Is it just only like they just sacrifice a few guys getting caught for the to make it look like they're getting police, or like since you have like an inside scoop on like what really happens in politics, like why do they do it? Is it just so easy to do?
I think is a lot where they want to maintain these seats, so they want to build these networks where okay, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours next time that I run a campaign, because it's really hard to run a campaign in LA. It is, if you're based off grassroots donations, you really have to have the support of the people. I remember Gil Cedillo, which is an ex-friend of mine too. Gil Cedillo would say, the last time he ran, he's like, well, the people can't afford my campaign. That's why I accept, these bribes from these companies, these development projects, and that's when you become that. And I feel like the thing, and I'll be honest with you, I don't think I'm ready to be in that position yet. I think I want to be a little more wiser, a little more mature, because when you come from the hood and then you're exposed to $500,000 and you're exposed to all these things, it changes you. It changes you. You start rubbing shoulders with the elite and you think that you deserve it because of where you come from. And I think you have to be complacent with what you have, like we could survive off of, the basic minimums. There's presidents in other countries who just have a regular house. They donate their salary and then they just live a regular life. A lot of these city officials, they run for the wrong reasons. Mm-hmm. They don't run to be a public servant. They run because they want to be out there. They want to be this person. They want to be able to, be in and I don't know, having friends like The Rock and all these corporations, being friends with Elon Musk. Like, no, like that's not the reason why you ran. So I think when you take someone from the hood, be careful, because you've never been exposed to big money, $10 million, who's, hey, no one's going to see, hey, we're going to open this dispensary. We'll give you a bag. No one's going to see. You got to be careful.
It's kind of like when you're in high school and you like the seniors want to kick with you all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And it's because your sister's hot or something.
Yeah. It is like that. It is.
You just want to be cool with your sister.
You want to sit down on the cool table, And And now I'm like, fuck the table. Do I create my own? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
now, I like doing what I'm doing now, man. I don't have to walk around eggshells. You know, now like we literally have fear. Like the mayor's fear us now, dude. Like city council members, like they don't want us in their city. They don't want to look bad.
Today, Southgate dropped you know how they do like posts on Instagram with like facts and stuff. They like, all right, this is the truth. Street vending is not legal. Like we're not asking for this. Like that flyer came out. I'm like, this is a direct like a result from like the day, like the protests you guys were doing at City Hall and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, and then they're making it seem like, oh, this was always the rules and this and that, which obviously Gil said also on the podcast that I had him this week. A lot of people are hating on me because I had him on the podcast, but my biggest thing as far as having people on the podcast, you know, Instagram and TikTok, all this stuff, you get 1 minute, 30-second reels of like the summary, you know, and it's always, I feel like this long format is just better for everyone to explain themselves.
Yeah.
And like I said, Gil, I've known Gil since I was 5 years old, you know.
Okay.
But I don't know him like that. He's not
Yeah.
the homie, you know. The same way I just met you today, the same way, you know,
Yeah.
the first time he came to my house. But I've seen him with my own eyes, like donate his time.
Yeah.
But it also makes sense where you're like, oh, he donates his time, but he's also fattening his pockets. And it's like, okay, well, that also kind of sounds like it could be true. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just don't know why he called the cops on us when we went to go protest his house.
That's
So
nice.
everybody came through. They try to arrest my girl. They stopped her. They try to find any excuse, and that's the thing. Like, why the special treatment for this guy? You know, why so many units? We had like what 20 units outside his house, and it was just like a lot of special treatment that this guy got. You know, and if he really believes in democracy, he would have just allowed us to protest. He knows we're not gonna go out and rush into his house, but. You know, like I actually got a bunch of bullet points on his thing too, but there's a lot. Well, actually, it's not a lot. Actually,
let's hear a couple of them.
I can read them. So here we go, and these are actual audio recordings. I'm not gonna show them here, but Gil Hurtado admitted he and his organization called the police on food vendors in the park, which is true. That's the thing. A lot of conflict of interest with Gil. Gil is a city council member. He's been the mayor. But he also owns the organization at the park that charges kids to play sports, and they make a profit from the food stands. And then he blocks off all the street vendors. So there's a lot of conflict of interest right there, right? Gil Hurtado never admitted to any wrongdoing with children, but always has explanation of why he was in possession of pigs and why he was publicly distributing. Gil Hurtado is the only one in the city pushing for an ordinance against street vendors, which is true. The previous city treasurer, Greg Martinez, which is if you know him, it would be great to hear from him too, pushed for an investigation into the JAA, which is the organization Gil has, and it was agreed on unanimously by the city council. Gil has everyone covering it up. Now yet they have not announced that the investigation was terminated either. Gil Hurtado voted on the anti-street vendor ordinance despite having not just a conflict of interest, but also a financial conflict since he admitted he was paid before by the JAA. And then Gil Hurtado wasted thousands of dollars using the police department as personal security for several hours, despite there being no threats made on or any inclination of danger presented or implied. So like I told Gil, like, dude, step down. Like, why are you kicking out street vendors from the park while you're having an organization that the government oversees, but you are the government of Southgate? So that's always been weird.
So those people do get paid. They pay themselves for being at the park.
Well, they're employees by him. He's the president,
Okay.
right? So they're all that's their organization. They make a profit, and it's also like not transparent because they also had like movie night, and then when they would report $0, which I have all the I actually showed that in the city council. So now Gil's backtracking. Now Gil says like, well, I don't take a salary out on this, but he's also a ref, you know, and the refs get paid there. Where is all the money that has not been accounted for? And going back to why are you charging kids? If you have Walmart, bro, if you have all these corporations in Southgate, why is Cudahy beating you? Why is Cudahy having programs where we pay for the we actually have extra money in the Cudahy Youth Foundation right now because we haven't had kids show up that what do you call it, that we've had to, because we actually right now, if you live in Cudahy, come play in Cudahy. We'll pay for it. Like,
Do you have to live in Cudahy to play there?
Yeah, you have to live in Cudahy. And then Southgate, yeah, that's the thing. You know?
Southgate, you can be from anywhere. You can play
Yeah.
there. You can play. We have to pay.
And that see, they should focus on Southgate residents instead of.
Do you think well, I think Southgate Park is one of the better parks in the area, and I think it's just known that everyone that lives around here goes to Southgate Park, whether you're in Maywood, South Central, Compton, maybe not Compton. Compton has a cool park too, but a lot of people from different cities come to use the park.
Yeah,
It's a good park.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You know, they should leave that park for the residents. You know, if they're gonna have sports and leagues, why not focus on your residents instead of focusing on profit? Because then you have leagues that come and play in Southgate. Right now, I think I just got a bunch of messages from a league being kicked out of. I'm not sure if it's Simi Valley. I'm sorry if you're listening to this and from there. I think a mayor is kicking out a whole league and now bringing a league that his nephew is in, and it's just messed up. You know, so yeah.
But you also said on the podcast that this might be his last year. That he's gonna like retire.
I bet he wants to.
Who would you want to see take over the park?
It's just someone progressive, man.
And then
we need women leaders.
Would it be somebody that like can't take like what would the perfect candidate be? Like, I don't get paid, I just volunteer my time, I have extra time. Like, what is the right way of doing it? You know, like, give me some like a little bullet points and guidelines, like the way you guys do it in Cudahy.
Like for example, right now in Cudahy, we have city council members that take a salary. We're not against that. We're against, like, right now they passed rent control in Cudahy, and I think that's amazing. The majority of our raza, they're renters, and I think that's putting money in their pockets. Like, there's a lot of dystopian events. I can go out there right now. The mayor of Cudahy can go out there and give out thousands of dollars and look great. Do a video like, oh, we handed out backpacks. That looks great on them. But what they just did right now in Cudahy, passing rent control, that is like literally going out there and handing hundreds of dollars and $1,000s to the residents, everyone there, because they don't have to pay. They're not gonna get their rent spiked by $500. So stuff like that, like passing stuff that's actually gonna benefit the people. That's what we want to see, and that's what right now you don't see me out there arguing with city council in Cudahy. We don't. The city manager told me too. He's like, look, we're gonna allow street vending because we know that the retail food code is antiquated. It's in a gray area. In time we'll see, and that's what we want to see from where the city council members are actually advocating for stuff that's going to benefit the people and not themselves. That's it. Like, it's not that hard.
Yeah. You think there's like, when I've seen videos where like, say, you find a video of this guy like attacking a lady, right? And then they apologize and you make them shake hands. You can do a video like, they kind of like, they forgive each other, right?
Yeah.
Which is like amicable and people, it's normal, right? Is there a way that you can kind of like find a way to do that with like the city council of South? Because that was a big commotion, that everyone, it was a big thing, a big show and stuff, which was necessary, like the thing that I don't like is like, why they had to take out all that to get to that point for them to like change and retract. But are you willing to work with them?
I mean, it's going to take time, we would have to see in time that they don't continue doing what they're doing. That's it. Politics is different, man. It's not like so much kumbaya. It's like you couldn't ask me to go shake hands with Donald Trump right now. I don't think there's a remedy for that. There's a lot of not just animosity, but there's just stuff that you can't fix. I think in city politics, I think it takes time. It can't just be like, hey, I'm sorry I did this for the past 10 years. In time we will see, and maybe you can redeem yourself. But yeah.
I think that's the question I'm asking. Like, can people redeem themselves, like Gil and stuff like that? If they just kind of like, I don't know, I don't want to say like just do whatever you're asking for, but just like kind of meet in the middle,
Yeah, I think they could, and then I don't think that's up to me. That's up to the people, It's we've gone through a lot here in Southeast. We were part of the whole. I was like the whole city about corruption.
Rizzo.
National. Yeah, Robert Rizzo. Oscar Hernandez, who I knew him too since I was a kid. He owned the liquor store, the store right there on Bell Avenue, and my whole family knew him. And then seeing him on the news with all the corruption, these guys were making more money than the president. Now those guys, I don't think they could redeem themselves.
Okay,
when
it's like super criminal like acts.
But you know what? Even Oscar has redeemed himself. I've seen him recently right there at the store, and people still say hi to him. So who knows, man? I don't know. People
make mistakes.
Yeah, people make mistakes, and
I've definitely made a shitload of mistakes.
Yeah, it's just different when you're in politics because people always tell me, "Well, aren't you a felon?" Like, yeah, but I wasn't stealing from hardworking people. I wasn't stealing from your taxpayer money.
Right.
It's a big difference than when you're in a position of power where it's gonna take a lot. It takes a lot for them to redeem themselves, and I think as long as they don't continue doing it, I think they'll see that people will forgive them.
Okay. I want to talk a little bit about Patata Street. That street, I remember when it first popped up. Not sure if it was during the pandemic, but they used to post up right there on the railroad tracks, right, for a while, and that shit was jumping, dog. It was popping. It was like some good fucking food. They had a little bit of everything. That was the first time I discovered mini pancakes. I was like, what the fuck are these things and why they're so good?
Yeah.
My fat ass was killing those shit. They're so good. But what happened? How come they got kicked off to like the street, basically?
That was the federal government. That was the I forgot the name of the company for the railroad, but I
Union
talked to
Pacific.
oh
Union
Union
Pacific.
Pacific. There you go. And I talked to the director. She's like, I can't. Someone gets run over. It's my fault. That's
Right.
basically what happened.
Safety.
Safety. And then right now we're trying to see if they can get some parking. But yeah, they're still there. They're still there. I recommend people to go visit them. We were just there on Sunday with the LA Times, and we were just talking to all the vendors, and they're doing good. So they're still there. Mini pancakes are still there. They got some. They got some good tacos. You know. So
Yeah, the churros are bomb too.
Yeah.
There's a huge empty lot in that corner, and it's just been empty for years. Like, what makes it so difficult to like turn these spaces into like safe havens for vendors? Like, is it a private owned thing? Like, what is it?
Man, that property there, I've been trying to do something with it for so many years. So it is half privately owned, and then the city owns it. But then the city owes money to the state, and that's where it gets really. It's just yeah.
If you had full control of that little site, what would you do with it?
Man, you don't want to ask me, bro. I'm wild. You know what I wanted to do with that parking lot? I wanted to do legal street takeovers, like have the kids like. You know
The
how
donuts?
have the kids come legally do their donuts, bust them right there. And you have food on the corners on the side, legally sell alcohol, whatever. Make sure everything's safe. Like kind of how they have Irwindale to racing. That's what I would do with it. Like come kids, come have fun right here. Don't do it in the street. Come do it right here.
That's sick.
Yeah,
That's that's so dope.
yeah.
Kind of hate to me like potreros. Like, you have any stories about potreros and those clubs back there?
Hell yeah, man. I mean, coming out of Potreros when I got beat up by the cops.
Okay.
But I remember one time my homies were just standing on the side of the dance floor, and then this guy just, I don't know if he was drunk or not, but he's drinking. He walks up to us. He's like, "Where y'all from? Where y'all from?" We're like, "Man, does this guy know where he's at, bro?" And he's like, "Bro, don't do that right here, you know." And then he takes one last chug, and he tries to swing at my homie. I don't know what happened, but I ended up being on top of him in the middle of the dance floor. But I remember the security guards, bro, they were rough. If you fight there, they will fuck you up worse, you know. So I'm in the floor. I'm like swinging at this. I had him good, and I was like, man, I'm like, it's not every day you're winning a fight, you know. It's like the best thing, you know. So I'm like, boom, boom, and then I stopped because I was like, oh my god. I started looking around, and here comes the security guards. Luckily, they just picked me up, bro. They just picked me up. They didn't beat me up. One of my homies, homie, who I didn't have a good relationship. I'm not saying it was a bad one, but I just didn't know him that well.
Yeah.
They put him in a coma, like literally a couple months prior to that. So luckily, man, the security treated me good. They just escorted me out, and all I remember doing, I'll never forget it. The other guy who I was fighting with, he just comes out with his nose all bloody. But Potreros, man, that was our spot, bro. I remember I mean, it's not even there no more, so I could say it, right? I was like 17 years old, bro. You could go in there, you could drink, and then do whatever you wanted, man. So yeah, luckily I could talk about it.
There's so many stories of underage people. Like, to us, right, when we're that age, it's so much fun. But like, you look back on it, like, okay, that shouldn't be allowed. Like, that's wrong. But like, and then parties till like 6 a.m, all sorts of crazy parties and shit. And it's like right in our backyard, you know?
Yeah, and I think Southgate had a lot of complaints about that because a lot of the bad stuff that would happen that would get spilled over to Southgate. It was a lot of wild times. Not that I would recommend my kids to do that or anyone, because I'm glad we survived it all. But yeah, I'm pretty sure you went there too, right?
I may or may not have partaken in some
There you go.
some illegal activities in there and shit.
Yeah, wild days. I mean, Too Short used to go there.
Yeah,
Too
dog.
Short and lock it down. And
That fool go anywhere.
Yeah.
Another reason why I stopped drinking, one time I was at a Raider game, and I ran into Too Short like backstage, and I was so drunk. I'm like, you need security. Let me be a security guy. I was just being so annoying, dog. But he was just being so humble and nice that he would just let me talk, and we basically walked him to his car and shit.
Wow.
But now, like, I'm like, hopefully this one doesn't remember me, dog, because I embarrassed myself in front of that fool, dog, at a Raider game.
That's funny.
So, coming from like Southgate, like I had a comment the other day on YouTube video that are like, damn, we thought people in Southgate had money, and somebody from South Central like texted like, people in South Central think that the people in Southgate have money, and then people in Southgate think that people in Downey have money.
Right.
So how do you feel about like Downey as far as like, a city, and like, they call it the Mexican Beverly Hills. So what do you think about that?
I mean, it is like to us, you know, till this day, you drive down Florence prior to the 605, there's huge houses, bro. There's actually been celebrities. There is celebrities that still live there.
Yeah.
Celebrities actually that I know. I'm not gonna mention because I know one of them. He lives there, and yeah. But I think Downey kind of has like their good parts and then their hood parts too. So it's not like everyone is balling there. It's not like the actual Beverly Hills where everyone is at a certain level.
Right.
I've had a family who grew grew up there, and like my cousin Gabriel, he's he's had a huge part in Downey. Like he's the owner of State Gallery. He basically all the designs of Downey, he's done them. Every single art piece that you see there, and I think I wouldn't disrespect the city because I know my cousin loves his city a lot, but I think it's yeah, I think it's kind of like a progressive city slash conservative. A lot of Mexicans who are conservative there. There's a lot of Trump supporters there, but yeah, it is what it is. You know.
Do you think it's a city that we can learn from?
Uh,
Because there's no street vending there.
yeah. No. See, no. That like I mentioned, it's very. They want to compete. They want to compete with other cities. And I think they're always been in that level, and I just know that there's, if I had the time, if I were to go back to, the Cudahy and run for council, I would like to have have our own success stories, like for example, I believe East LA has King Taco. I think King Taco started there, and they've been able to develop and become big. But I think there's different ways where you can benefit a city, but Downey, it's a love and hate thing right now.
Yeah, they're like playing a different ball game,
Yeah.
I said this last time. Like, I feel like there's always been paleteros and people who sell like raspados and corn and shit like that, right? And ice cream man. But like to me, it's been recent as far as like street vending and food trucks everywhere. I feel like back in the day there was loncheras, the white loncheras with the blue little canopy that sometimes you get sick, sometimes you don't. That used to post up at these job sites. But like there's like a sudden boom of like street vending and lunch trucks. Do you also notice, or do you feel like there's always been there?
No, there's been a boom because of the new, like maybe the new laws that happened in 2018 where you could street vend. I just I like it because it gives flexibility to a lot of people. If it wasn't for that, our people would probably be exploited like at agencies right now, being paid crumbs. They wouldn't be able to afford rent on their own. And because of street vending, there are some street vendors that are able to afford rent for themselves and their families, and being able to work and get work for other workers. So I think it's been a boom because of the 2018 law that decriminalized street vending, and it's also been a boom because people, I don't know what it is, just people like it. People, there's restaurants that have probably better food than some street vendors, or vice versa. But I don't know, people just like to see you cooking in front of them and just having the ambiance, the environment.
People like a good deal. They feel like they're probably saving money at the street vendor.
True. And it just authentic, authenticity. So I think that's pretty much what it is.
I used to work in Torrance, right? And Torrance has like a lot of like sushi and Asian food. And I've worked in like Lakewood, and I've worked in different cities, right? And I've always had like, when I used to work at my other industry, I used to sell glasses for doctors. I used to work in the medical field for a long time.
Yeah.
So rich people, right? And like everywhere I would go, like I want to try this new food. And I don't want to just eat tacos every day. Let me try some sushi or whatever. And I would go, and in the kitchen, it would always be a Mexican food, like a paisa.
Yeah.
So no matter if it's steakhouse, sushi, so like those are the people that like me travel to a different city to work and then come back and live over here, right?
Right.
And then now they know how to cook yakitori and all this crazy stuff. And I think the food vending allows them to like go into business for themselves.
Exactly.
Show off their skills.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right about that. I never thought about it like that too. That's true. They're always in the back of those fancy restaurants, and I have seen vendors go and cook like hibachi right there, and they do their plates. So it gives them that opportunity. And right now I see it, bro. Like for example, 2 street vendors on Patata Street, they just opened their brick and mortar.
Sick, where at?
We have Perro Taco. They open in Cerritos, and then we have another one, Freshly Eats. I think you talked to. I forgot what city, but they both have their brick and mortars now. So I'm very happy for them. Also, shout out to Tacos Los Palomo from El Monte. They just opened their first brick and mortar too. So it's ownership. At the end of the day, a lot of people say, "Oh, because I'm a socialist." So they say, "You're a socialist. Why are you supporting capitalism? Street vending is capitalism." That it is, but then again, it isn't. Right? Going back to what you were saying, when you're a worker inside of a fancy restaurant, you're just a worker. You don't own the means of production. As far as street vendors, they own the means of production. They manage everything. They're basically their own boss. And that's what socialism is. Like a lot of people think socialism is, they don't even know what, 99% of people I debate with, they don't even know what socialism is. Socialism it just simply means the workers owning the means of production. That's it. We live in a system where you can have a company like Amazon, and that one person, Jeff Bezos, reaps all the benefits, and then you have the workers being exploited, still being like can't even afford rent. Being There's a lot of companies that, for example, like franchises. I forgot what is it. Hot Dog and a Stick is it's a franchise. What is the other word? Winkles, I think, where it's employee owned and they all go up together, and that's all we want. That's basically what it is. We're just trying to reduce the largest wage gap. So I'm happy about that, man. I'm happy that these successful stories can happen, and these our raza can have the opportunity to become those owners, because at the end of the day, prior to that, they were just being workers.
Are you banned from Dodger Stadium
Yes.
forever?
5 years. So 2026, I'm back for sure.
You're gonna get back on the field again?
No comment.
Self snitching. My bad. Dumb question. If you had to do that thing all over again, would you change anything, or like get a bigger sign, or like what would you change, or you feel like you did it the right way?
I wouldn't change anything about it, but I think Wendy would probably change something about it, because I know she came out with a black eye, dude.
Oh, shit.
We
Are you
still don't know
serious?
how that happened, but I was pretty pissed off about that. I think she got it when the guy tackled her to the floor or whatever. I was pretty upset about that, but a lot of people don't know too. Like when I jumped over the fence,
Yeah.
I fell.
Oh.
I fell, and I had to like damn, I had to get up, and I was running, and
That
then
shit hurt?
Yeah, a little bit, and then because it was wet, probably that. But I mean, I had fun, bro. Like it was a major adrenaline
I
rush
was gonna
that day.
say, did you get like a rush from that?
Yeah, because we got there late, and it was like I didn't want to run after the seventh inning stretch. So as soon as we got there, we ran.
Oh shit! Went right.
So
in game
we
time.
went right in, and it was just a rush, man. And then just seeing Mookie Betts laughing.
Oh, he laughed at you?
Yeah, no, like not laughing like mad or joking. Like he was just like, oh, that was. I don't know if you seen the spin move, man. Because like I love football, man. Shit, I did my. I was
juke
like
some fool?
I was Emmitt Smith up there, you know. I was.
NFL blitz style.
Hell yeah.
You know, you do a lot of work with the street vendors, and you're an activist. Do you have a favorite street vendor? Like, what food do you like to eat? Because you're out here supporting them, but you're not really like, you don't show yourself out there eating and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
what do you really fuck with?
Tacos El Champ, man.
Where's that at?
Pico Rivera Sports Arena.
Oh, inside when they have the rodeo.
Avenue 26 Night Market.
Is that Friday or Saturdays?
I believe it's Saturdays. Avenue 26 Family Night Market at Pico Rivera Sports Arena. I believe it's Saturdays, but Tacos El Champ, that's in there, man.
What's your order? What's your go-to?
The dos tacos de pastor, like those are bomb, bro.
Yeah.
Comes with guacamole. It's just juicy. It's just, to me, is my number one taco, and then my second one will be perro taco, the one who just from Patata Street. Those are bomb.
What style taco? You like a TJ style, Sonora style, Sinaloa style?
TJ style. I also like tacos dorados de camarón. It's also my favorite type of food too.
Fire.
From Cuatro Vientos right there in Boyle Heights.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fire.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people notice that, you know, you go live and your style of activism is a little bit more like I don't know how to describe it, but just a little more aggressive, you know? Like, it kind of reminds me a little bit about, I wasn't alive back then, but all I know is movies and textbooks,
Yeah.
right? Like Black Panther, like Malcolm X, like, you're definitely not MLK in this shit, you know? Like, you're definitely more on the aggressive side. Is that something that you have to, like, or it just comes natural to you? Like, that's just the way you get your point across. Like, what goes through your mind?
I don't know what people talk about, bro. This is me and my best behavior. Like, seriously, like I'm not, if it was really me, like what I really want to do is like punches would be thrown, and none of this would be on social media. Like, I probably would do some wild shit. I think I'm on my best behavior. I'll tell you that much.
Okay.
I don't see myself like that. I know other people think it's wild, but man, if you were to see the wild things that we did back in 07, man,
Like street justice type shit?
no, yeah, just with us, and like our, we went through a lot of stuff with our enemies back in the day, man.
Oh, okay.
So stuff like that, like we were wild, but right now that I know the law, I know what I'm doing. I think, I still question it, but I get it. I just feel like the majority of people are like, it's different for them, but for the people that are worried, I know I get a lot of that, like, oh, something's gonna happen to you, like that. I think we're gonna be all right.
Yeah. What are some of the things that like someone that can't show up to every front door every time you do a protest, someone who can't show up to every buyout, or even doesn't have a money to spare because they're paying rent and struggling to survive, and they can't support the cash apps and stuff. What are some of the things other people can do to support like the cause and support the street vendors?
Just sharing. It's free. It's free to share. Share it on your story. You could repost it. I don't even care if you tag me or not. repost it. I've never cared. I know there's all these other major platforms that reshare my stuff all the time without tagging me. I've never got mad about that. I really don't care. I do it for the message. If you can't show up to the buyouts and you don't have the money, dude, sharing is free. But not even that is free, because you have to pay your carrier and the internet, right?
True.
But if you have internet, that's a way you can support.
Your social media presence right now is huge, right? Like almost everything you post goes viral. When did that start like really taking off for you? And have you always posted everything, and do you post everything, or do you only post things that like you consider safe?
I don't post. I don't post everything. There's videos that I have that street vendors were not comfortable with the attention, and I respect it. I don't care about the views. There's a lot of the work that we do goes behind closed doors. For example, when there's a street vendor against street vendor, we always try to resolve that without off camera. I don't go live. I don't do that, because I do it in the best interest for them. But it's as far as like the constant posting, that was recently too, because I started like researching like how the algorithm works, right? And how we can really expand the awareness of what's going on, the reach, right? So that too. But I mean, prior to that, I think like also the Bernie campaign thing, like when I was coming out on newspapers, just based off the work that I do on my 9 to 5, because I still do that. A lot of people think that I don't have a job or whatever. That's not true. Like I'm a political consultant. I signed an NDA. I can't, even if I wanted to post it, I can't post it about it. But as far as the street vendor stuff, I noticed that there's a lot of great activists out there, and I just didn't want to be that activist that, would just post flyers and not know how to present it to the people, So shout out to my big brother, Alan, rest in peace. He's the one that taught me like how to edit videos and stuff like that. So why not use the tools that I know, right? So, bro, I spend so many hours editing videos, like literally every morning. Like I like to post every morning, and I'm backed up right now in videos. Like fuck, there's just like so many cases happening that sometimes sadly I have to skip them. But yeah, I wake up every morning at 6 a.m. and I edit a video. I try to put it out by at least 9 a.m. Because those are the best times to post. I used to not ever post on the weekend because I used to think, well, no one's gonna care. Everyone's out with their families. No, there's actually great times to post on the weekend. Like if you post at 7 a.m. on a Saturday, the video will do great. But if you post it around noon, it actually wouldn't. And I've noticed that. When I post a video like on a Sunday and it's like at 11 a.m., it will do horrible. It would like not even like, what's the point,
Yeah.
So, but if you post it at 7 a.m., like it does amazing. And I'm just like, wow. So yeah, studying the algorithm, man, and that's a lot of work that people don't see, man. A lot of people, and I'm pretty sure. So studying the algorithm, has helped a lot.
Yeah, I'm a Monday through Friday 7 a.m. once a day kind of guy.
Yeah, that works.
And then I don't share it to my story no more. Like I recently started using the story as Snapchat, just like record from the app.
Yeah.
And my views have gone way up. But like, how people tag you and then you reshare it to your story?
Yeah.
They don't like that shit, dude. They don't want you to put nothing from the feed into the story.
Instagram?
Yeah.
For real?
My shit goes down. Like it'll cut it in half, like my views.
Really?
On the story.
I haven't noticed that. Yet.
Yeah, I think you're just too big, dog. This is for a little.
Well, no, but I'm learning now.
I'm gonna
stop doing it now.
This is a little page problem.
No, I'm stop.
Again, thank you again for pulling up. This really means a lot to me. My dad has been a street vendor for 25 years, and he sells Saturday and Sunday in Boyle Heights, at Garcia Park, and he works. He's been a factory worker since he came, from Mexico. Yeah. So right now he's gonna wake up at 4, go to work till 2, and then that's how I got into contact with Gil, because Gil was posting all this stuff about street vendors.
Yeah,
and I'm like, my dad wants to post up at the park because he used to post up at Salt Lake Park, but he kept getting kicked out by the PD. So my dad's like, I want to go to Southgate. So I'm like, so I send that. I commented on one of Gil's things. I'm like, what's going on with the street vendors? Is it legal or not? So he calls me for like an hour, and this fool can talk, dog. Like, this fool talked for like 50 minutes, and I talked for like 5 throughout the whole conversation. But basically, he told me that my dad could post up. So now he posts up in Southgate Park, right? But like my dad's been working 7 days for 25 years,
Yeah.
And making it. And he's been like robbed at gunpoint. And I've worked with him at the swap meets, and I've gone to work with him. And one of my earliest memories with my dad is selling behind Sears in the Sears Tower when we used to have an Astro van. He started with tools.
Oh wow.
So like the street vendor thing to me is like it's really close. And now my little brother runs like the Instagram for him. We're at 10,000 followers. That's like big for us.
Hell yeah.
So it's really like an honor to have you here and to see what you do for street vendors. I'm sure people tell you this all the time, but like, thank you for what you do for our people in our community. But what are some of the things that you do to like unwind or relax, or like You know, like say somebody works at a fucking, I don't know, somewhere. Like, where do you like to go kick it and have fun? We gonna give you a GoFundMe. Send you on vacation, dog.
I'll be honest with you. Whenever I have like a little bit of extra money, I just want to take the kids out. You know, go out somewhere. Recently, we went to Matador State Beach, which was right here in Malibu. We spent a day out there with the kids. That's what I like to do. I like just to go out there, spend some family time, spend it with Wendy, and that's how we unwind. I like to go to the movies now. You know, that's my club now. Okay. I always look forward to going to the movies. Like right now, I'm backed up. I gotta go see Blue Beetle.
Hell yeah.
I just seen the dog movie, which is pretty funny, and I gotta go see the Denzel Washington movie.
Oh, Equalizer.
Yeah, Equalizer 3. So
you already saw Oppenheimer?
Which one?
Oppenheimer, the one about the bomb.
No, I haven't seen that one either. Yeah, and then so we live near a AMC theater, and it's just like it's comfortable, man. They got the big seats, and I like to.
You heard that? You heard that, guys? Buy a bunch of AMC gift cards. DM them.
Hell yeah.
DM them to the homie right here.
I'm down for that.
So he could take his family out and to go enjoy the movies. Because honestly, dog, I be buying popcorn right here to watch a movie, and sometimes that's why I bought this big ass TV. But it's not the same, dog. When you're at the movies with the recliner seats and the fresh popcorn, fucking icy Coke and shit, that's just fire.
Yeah, it's different. And especially watching a movie, you just kind of forget about all your problems. You know, there's times I do get stressed out. There's times that I do feel like I just wish we could do more. There's times I have to say no. You know, there's a lot of people that are coming up to me that has nothing to do with street vendors, and I just wish I could help them. But in time, right now we started a nonprofit. Hopefully in the future, we'll be able to have staff and be able to just do more. But I mean, believe it or not, I know sometimes people tell me like, "Oh, you do it." I sometimes feel like I don't. Like right now, my homie Nando, who's our like the security for the street vendors, we've been going out there, and he goes out there. He's out there right now because one of the vendors was bothered by this man. So right now, after this, we're gonna go with him. But I give a shout out to him because he's out there more than us in South Central, you know. So there's times that I want to go out there every day, bro. You know, put on the bulletproof vest and just be out there, but I can't, you know. But
there's only one of you.
Yeah, but I think in time, hopefully with this nonprofit, we'll be able to expand and do more, and I'll be able to kind of like take a break too. And I'm just hoping right now I could find people I can trust.
Yeah.
Because there was a situation where we had someone that was basically doing what I was doing here in LA, and it just turned out this person wasn't a good person. So I just hope, and if people want that, like if people want to expand this movement and be able to do what I'm doing, I just hope that these people are good people and we can find people that we can trust, you know, that won't take advantage of vendors and just won't, you know, have these values that don't align with ours.
Yeah. I kind of like, you have to kind of like build your own little army, you know, because you can't be like in 10 spots at one time. Like how many street vendors are in LA? Probably like thousands, 10,000,
right? Yeah.
10,000? Is that the number?
Mm-hmm.
Damn, there's only one of you.
Yeah.
You know? So that's difficult, dog.
Yeah, we definitely need more.
What else did I want to ask you, dog? I kind of have you right here. This might be the last time you ever
come
here,
good.
Dog.
No,
I gotta
you're
make
good.
sure I ask you some good shit. How did you meet Wendy, dog?
How did I meet Wendy?
Tell us about your relationship. Give me some cheese, man, homie.
I met her in Long Beach at a protest.
Okay.
But I would see her, dude. I would see Wendy. I would see Wendy around the protest, but she always had a shiesty.
Okay.
She had a shiesty. I would never see her face. I would just kind of see her around. So, and then it wasn't until later we kind of added each other on Instagram, and then she was the first one because I had paid security. Nando, I would actually pay him hourly. I had like 7 security guards I was paying hourly. This was all out of pocket too, and she was the first one to say, hey, I want to volunteer to go out there and do security for a street vendor. So there was a hot dog vendor, and a couple. It was a wife and her husband who had just gotten attacked. They had just gotten pistol whipped, and I'll never forget it. It was on a Saturday, and she went out there, and I had a crush on her because I had her on Instagram, and all the activists were always liking her posts. You know, I would never like none of it, bro.
Yeah, you're playing it cool.
Yes, I was like, I don't like you, the fuck. But bro, I had like she was like my IG crush. You know, she'll post pictures of me. I would just be like, oh, God. I just keep going. You know, no comment, no like, nothing. So that night, she goes, I told her, you know, I owe you a drink. You know, I owe you dinner, whatever. So yeah, after she did security, we met up, and then you know, the rest is history.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it, dog. It's gangsters.
Love and activism right there.
That's a movie right there in the future for
sure.
Damn, I don't know. Okay. The security. is it Gonzalez Security
Gonzalez
Team?
Security Force, yes.
Is that like how does it work? Like where do they I can't say where they show because then people are gonna go, right?
Yeah.
But how does it work as far as like the street vendors? Like, do they get in contact with them and then like is it like someone pays for a donation? Does the street vendor have to pay? Like how does that work?
No, it's all free. It's all free. The street right now, we're just volunteering. He's out there right now. He's not getting paid. The street, we don't never charge vendors. We don't even accept donations from the vendors.
Damn.
Also, I promised him because he like I told you, he started as a basically getting paid by me hourly, and then to the point where he kind of grew like some love for it, and he's seen what's going on. He's like, bro, I want to volunteer my time. So him and he has other people going out there, and then we also have the brown berets that go out there. So now we don't post about it because I feel like we are being watched because all these areas that got attacked last time, it pissed me off because I was like, man, these motherfuckers are watching us. But that's basically how it works right now. And there's days that we go out there. Like right now, Wendy and I, we're gonna go out there and be out there for a few hours, and that's basically how it works right now. But my goal is that once UVA is expanded, we can get, for example, if we get a grant or we get a donation from a company that wants to have a tax write-off, then we're gonna send out security and we'll pay them, give them a stipend, that way. But it'll always be free at charge from the vendors.
Tell me like more about UVA, right?
Yeah. So UVA right now was the paperwork was done by Christian Contreras, which is my friend. He's an attorney, and basically the first priority of UVA would be having a paralegal that will be able to work for street vendors. For example, if we have a street vendor who needs a restraining order, we'll be able to get that. A civil lawsuit, we'll be able to get that. And the goals also would be in the future having an immigration attorney on deck for these vendors. So that's first, it'll be legal, for us to be able to have legal representation free at charge for the street vendors. And then from there, we can expand to a bunch of other things, man. We could, once we have we expand the office, we can have a community center where vendors can come and bring their kids and ask questions. We can help them with their permits and stuff like that. It'll expand to more things, but mainly right now, classes for like teach them how to download the app for Venmo, Cash App, and Zelle, where they can get a prepaid debit card that doesn't have to include a bank, all that stuff. Yeah.
Do you think it was really important to start off phase 1 with UVA as like legal help, because a lot of street vendors are undocumented and scared to even ask for help?
Yeah, that's important. And because my friend Christian was getting bombed, he was doing all this pro bono. So right now he's suing a couple people who attack street vendors, and he was doing pro bono, and it's basically for him to be able to get a paralegal to be able to help out, because we're bombarded with cases right now. So yeah, basically that. And then also another reason, bro, I didn't want to start a nonprofit because I just didn't want to get paid for this, But at the end of the day, I seen other nonprofits getting millions and not doing nothing, and I want to be 100% transparent with the money. Like I don't want to be the guy be like, oh, I'm gonna give myself a $50,000 raise, because there's guys like that. There's only 2 organizations in LA that help street vendors, and these guys are greedy as fuck. They give themselves $50,000 raise from one year to another. They make the vendors volunteer for the work, bro. Like they make them go to meetings 6-8 hours for vendors already have enough on their plate. They're just trying to make a living. Meanwhile, they're racking up all the money. They're getting $150,000 salary for what? For doing nothing. And then there's other. So we just want the transparency. We also want to be able to help and actually do the work and not do what these guys are doing. Damn.
Yeah. Before we get out of here, what's next for you guys? Like, what are some big events coming up? And what are some things we should look out for?
For sure. Well, tomorrow at 7 p.m. we're doing a buyout for a friend. He was the one that's being harassed by his tenant, his landlord. She has threatened to call immigration on him, so we're gonna do a buyout right there for him tomorrow in North Hollywood. We're doing that, and then I kind of leave the schedule open right now for the summer, because there's stuff like that happens like this spontaneously that we just leave it open. I would have to check my schedule, what's going on for this weekend, but that's basically what we have right now on deck.
Do you also do like toy drives or like stuff like that for like Christmas and stuff like? Because this episode's probably gonna come out like in 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But do you do like events like that, or?
Yeah.
Everyone should just like watch your Instagram, right? That's where you post the most.
Every year, Cudahy Youth Foundation holds we do toy giveaways, we do turkey giveaways. This is my first year that I'm thinking about maybe leaving the foundation, because I moved out of Cudahy. But we've been doing this for the past 7 years, where we it's on my page. If you go, we did a big toy giveaway during Christmas. We did another one for the turkey. But I'm kind of staying away. I call those dystopian events where it's just like, it's kind of like
Just for the picture.
just for the pictures, and I want to move to helping the vendors, but also being able to change laws that will benefit them in the long run. Being able to change policies. But I think it's great. And in the future, through UVA, we will be doing it. But I think this will be the first year. But I know Cudahy Youth Foundation is going to keep going, and it will be happening in Cudahy. But yeah, we've been doing that. I think it's great. But I think we're moving forward to something better.
Why'd you move out of Cudahy?
Wendy.
She dragged you out? Is she from out there? She's from IE?
She's from the IE, yeah.
missed
Well,
it.
I mean, sorry. She's living in the IE right now, but she grew up in East LA
Okay.
and Pomona.
Okay.
So that's where she's from.
But
But
she looked at you like, get it right.
yeah. But
How's it out there?
it's dope, man. I haven't heard a gunshot.
Wow. No helicopters on.
No
that
helicopter,
shit?
no gunshots, man. It's
Airplanes.
it's peaceful. I think it's cool. But dude, we're here. Like how many? We're here almost every day.
So you're out. You're just making the drive still like you live out here.
Yeah.
To different places.
And then the drive seems short to us now too. So I think it's good, and I think I sleep better knowing that no one knows where I live. I know these cops and detectives, they wish they knew, but yeah, I think I sleep better. Yeah.
Okay. In case they try to sabotage you and say like that, you don't have any suicidal thoughts. You don't plan on harming yourself.
No.
You're completely healthy, right?
Yes.
In case so they're like, oh, this fool always had. This. How they do people sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So you're good, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, cool, man. Well, thank you again for pulling up. Shout out to Michi Man for sponsoring this episode.
Thank you.
And we'll catch you guys later. Peace.